see who's thumping at the door. So when they opened the door, about 15 people walked inside. Each one of them had a sword in their hand. The leader was wearing a bandana like this. You must examine all 15 of us, and then we'll decide what to do with you. I had a mentor in the form of late Dr. H.V. Sardesai. He was a legendary figure. He treated me like his son. One of the great things that he taught me was, Udayan, you must treat a patient, but remember, your duty is not just to treat a patient, your duty is to heal a patient. But I'll tell you a Guru Mantra. Do something which nobody is doing in Pune. Do something which these doctors are not doing. Then I can easily send patients to you because they are not doing that work and you would be doing something new. So start something which nobody else is doing. So I really made a lot of research as to what is lacking in Pune, and I realized about the laser treatments. They saw in me the youngest Safekar brother, and they offered me the role of the youngest Safekar amongst the three brothers and do the film 22nd June 1897. We lived that role. I had shaved off my head completely. In order to look authentic, I started wearing a dhoti and a small bush shirt like thing. I had pierced my ears and I used to wear what is called as a big bag.
Our guest today is Dr. Udayan Dixit. He is an ophthalmologist and has been giving service in this advanced eye care field for over 30 years. He's also known for having acted in the award-winning film 22 June. He now is also dedicated to humanitarian work, providing free eye care in the remote regions of Arunachal Pradesh. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cafe Rainy Days. My name is Sujata Mathur, and we are so fortunate to have such a senior ophthalmologist, Dr. Udayan Dixit. Namaste. Hello.
Hello.
Of course, doctor has been in this field of ophthalmology for several years. We are going to start with, when we talk to doctor, is his voluntary work in Arunachal Pradesh. So in Arunachal Pradesh, which is a very remote part of India, as many of you would know, he does a lot of eye camps. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And then we're going to talk about his experiences in the field of the ophthalmology in general. And then there's another facet to his personality, which is films. Now, he started his, I would like to say started, but we'll ask him in a bit, started his career in films with 22 June, about the Safekar Bandhu, and the film won a national award. So welcome to Cafe Rainy Days, doctor. And let me begin with, after having chatted to you, I know that you didn't choose Arunachal, but Arunachal chose you. So how did that happen?
Thank you, Sujata, for that introduction and for the kind words you said about me. I'll just tell you in brief how Arunachal happened in my life. After working for almost 4 decades as an ophthalmic surgeon, I had decided that now it's time to slow down. So I reduced my work by 50%. And I was thinking, like everybody thinks, that at some stage in your life, you want to give back to the society. Probably everybody thinks that. But you don't know exactly what to do. You don't know what opportunity you should seize. And I always believe that opportunities just whisk away in front of you. But you have to keep your eyes and ears and mind open. And if you see an opportunity, you have to quickly grab it. I was fortunate to do that. One of the ladies from an institution called Vivekananda Kendra, which is an organization which does a lot of work, in fact, tremendous work in the northeast of India about education and health. They have been doing that relentlessly for the last several decades. So a lady volunteer from Vivekananda Kendra, they have centers all over the country with headquarters at the Vivekananda Smarak in Kerala, Kanyakumari. So she approached me and she said, Dr. Dixit, would you like to work in Arunachal Pradesh and examine and treat patients there? So I was thinking about doing something for the society, and as if served on a platter, this offer came to me that, will you work in Arunachal Pradesh? Without blinking an eyelid, I said yes. But then I realized that I don't know anything about Arunachal Pradesh. My pure knowledge of Arunachal Pradesh was In school, I remember it used to be called NEFA, Northeast Frontier Agency. That's what we studied in geography. And then it was renamed as Arunachal Pradesh. That's about it. That's the only thing that I knew about Arunachal Pradesh. So I said, I'll work in Arunachal Pradesh, but I'm quite curious to know why Arunachal Pradesh and why not someplace near Pune or in Maharashtra. So she said, I'll tell you the reasons for that. She said, one is, of course, social work, because there are several villages in Arunachal Pradesh, typically on the border of China and Myanmar, where reaching those places is so difficult for the doctors and reciprocally for the patients to go to the doctor. A very arduous journeys, very inaccessible places. So there are several villages where the villagers have not seen a doctor, not eye specialist, any doctor for almost 10 to 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we feel that you should go, and we'll see to it that you can reach there safely. And that's why we want you to go and work there. She said this is the social angle to it. There is also a bit of patriotic angle to it. For many years, people in the Northeast, they always feel alienated. They sometimes they don't even believe that they are Indians. They are not treated very well. They are neglected. Those parts are neglected. And of course, neighboring countries do feel that Arunachal belongs to them rather than belonging to India. So she said that we must go there and we must tell them that we care for you. They must understand that. Only then they will stay with India. When she said that, there was a selfish purpose behind it, as far as I'm concerned. My wife's father, my father in law, he was in the Indian Army and he sacrificed his life in 1965 war.
Oh.
So me and Naina always felt that we must do something for our country. In fact, I used to work in England and I left England and came to India because Naina insisted that we must serve our country. So we came here. We can never do something which her father has done. We can never do such a big sacrifice. But here was a chance that sticking to my profession, going and doing something as a social work, but also which will have a patriotic angle to show people in the so-called neglected parts of our country that we care for you. So we just grabbed that opportunity and we told Madam Meeta Khirwadkar, she is the one who came to meet us, that I'm willing to go. She said, but there are some caveats to it. One is, it's a long journey because from Pune to villages in Arunachal Pradesh, it takes a long time. So we have asked a few doctors, but they said, will you give us some travel allowance for that? But we have to say sorry that we will not be able to give any travel allowance to you. The second thing is, because the journeys are long, you have to spend quite a few days there, sometimes a week or two. So doctors say that we will give us loss of practice allowance because we have to stop our work wherever we are working, say in Pune where I work. So will you give us loss of practice allowance? I looked at my wife Naina and we both said that if we take travel allowance from you and if we take loss of practice from you, that means instead of earning in Pune, I'm earning in Arunachal Pradesh. So I said, there is no question. I will not take a single penny from you. This is the time for me to give. So I will not take anything from you. So that's how the work in Arunachal Pradesh starts.
So you don't just give your time. I mean, I remember you saying that a patient should feel and be able to get the same level of service that he or she would get if they come to your Pune clinic. They should get this. And so you carry glasses free of charge, medicines free of charge, all this equipment free of charge. And so there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, that's very true, Sujata, what you said. So there are a couple of ways in which you can do an ICAM. You can just go with a torch, ask patients their symptoms and quickly examine the patient, one patient, say 2-3 minutes and finish the patients in the gap. But as you rightly said, me and Naina decided that when a patient comes to my clinic in Pune or if I examine a patient in UK in the NHS hospital, the kind of service that I give to those patients, I will replicate that in Arunachal Pradesh. I can't carry all the machines in my clinic, but most of the machines in the clinic also have a portable replica. The portable machines were more expensive than the big machines in my clinic. So I procured portable equipments of everything that I have, like There is a thing called auto-refractometer, or we check glasses with that machine without asking too many questions to the patient. There's a machine called biomicroscope, machines to examine retina, machines to check the eye pressure of the patients. And when I examine patients there, I am myself fully satisfied that I have done full justice to the patient and I am not giving him any kind of disservice or substandard service. There is no sense in examining a patient and giving a prescription to him. These are
Mm.
small villages. There is no medical shop there.
Mm.
So if I examine a patient and give a prescription of drops, it has no meaning at all. So we carry about 1,000 eye drops of different diseases. So I write the prescription, but I give the medicines to the patient. Similarly, the need for glasses. Suppose I check what is the number of glasses. Where are they going to get the glasses from? We carry about 500 glasses with us and we give them glasses if the number is very simple. Sometimes the number is complicated, like many of your viewers would know, we have some numbers with a cylindrical number to it. So those cannot be ready-made
Mm.
glasses. So what we do is I give them a prescription. We write down what is the number. And there are two opticians who come with us from a place called Tin Sukhia. Tin Sukhia is a town which is at the border of Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. So we take those cards with us. These nice people, the optometrists, they prepare the glasses in about a week's time. And before we leave the village, we tell the patients that exactly on this day, after 10 days, please come over here because these gentlemen will be coming back over here with your glasses. So
Mm.
they help in making the glasses and giving them back to the villagers. Also, the
Mm.
medicines which we carry, no work is done without some nice souls helping you. So
Mm.
there are some pharmaceutical industries where at the first time when I gave them a call that I am doing this thing, will you be kind enough to give us some eye drops? They said, if you are going
Mm.
to go yourself and you are going to do all this work, just send us a list of the medicines you require and the medicines will reach there. I can't carry
Wow.
1,000 drops in a domestic aircraft.
Of
So
course.
they pack all those medicines, the list I give, at their own expense. They send those medicines to this Tinsukia or the border town between Arunachal and Assam. And when we reach Tinsukia, we keep those medicines and glasses in the jeeps and we carry them to the respective camps so that we try to give full service to the patients.
Mm, amazing. You know how they say that once you start giving, then a lot of hands join in, isn't it? So, although, I mean, nothing less can be said about your wife. Without her support, it would have been impossible. When you go to these villages, give us a feel of what sort of issues do you, when you are traveling, seeing so many patients, what tends to be the biggest complaint with eyes?
First time when I went to Arunachal Pradesh, I had heard people say that sometimes these people can be hostile to you. You may not be welcome because you have come from a far off place. You don't look like them. But believe me, in these 6 years that I have been working in Arunachal Pradesh, they always welcome us with open arms. They themselves help us so much because we need help of local people to conduct an eye camp. We don't know anything over there. So they are there when we reach there to help us set up the instruments and everything. And the common eye problems that we encounter over there, the first and foremost is what we call as refractive error or need for glasses. Right
Mm.
from school going kids to senior citizens, the most common problem is glasses. Now, for example, suppose there is a small child and I check his vision, like you get your vision checked by the vision chart in the clinics. I ask him to read and he can hardly see the top line. For him, this is what normal vision is. He doesn't even know that the vision can be better than this.
Mm.
Then I check him for glasses. I put those glasses on his face, and he suddenly starts seeing from instead of one line, he goes right down up to the seventh line. He looks around, his parents are sitting on a bench nearby. He looks at them and he sees their faces very clearly for the first time in his life. So I always felt that smile that I saw on that boy's face when he could see things on the chart and when he could see people around very clearly, very, very honestly gives me 10 times more pleasure than doing the most intricate surgery in Pune. It is
Mm.
undescribable how happy I feel by seeing the happiness on their faces. So, need for glasses is one. Similar thing applies for adults also. We know that after you cross the age of 40, almost everybody requires glasses for reading. But there were patients who are 50 years old, 60 years old. So they couldn't read. Most importantly, in Arunachal Pradesh, doing bead work is an important part of their culture. So there was a lady who was about 50, 55 years old, and her profession was to do bead work. Bead work is very, very famous in Arunachal Pradesh. So she was not doing it just for hobby, but she used to teach other ladies to do bead work. So teaching this bead work
Oh.
was her livelihood. That was her earning. But she stopped working because she couldn't see the beads. Beads are so tiny. So when I checked
Oh.
her and I gave her the reading glasses, again the pleasure on her face, the smile on her face, she realized that she can start doing that work again and her livelihood would start.
Mm.
So giving classes is the number one ailment that I face. Besides that, there are other ailments also, like we see in other patients. When the elderly people come, they have cataract, which is an age-related change, not a disease. So there are many senior citizens from that place who have cataract. They don't know. You will not believe this. People from major cities will not even believe this, that they don't even know that their vision is a treatable blindness. They have not
Mm.
become blind. Can easily be treated by doing cataract surgery. Then there are some minor ailments like getting infections of the eye. There's a condition called glaucoma, which surprisingly is extremely rare, I found in Arunachal Pradesh.
Mm.
Cataract, glaucoma, infections of
Mm.
minor ailments. These are the patients that we encounter in Arunachal.
You sort of read my mind because I was just about to say that have the same issues that cities and the rest of the world face. Have they hit Arunachal? So I was going to touch upon our addiction to the mobile phones. We're continuously viewing at a shorter distance rather than a longer distance. So those sort of issues, and also diet. Since you touched upon glaucoma,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah. Tell us about bit about their diet and their lifestyle.
yeah.
Are there a lot of tabs and phones and TVs in their lives?
When I went to several of the small houses and huts and everything in Arunachal, right from the first visit, I remember the first place that I went to was a place called Khonsa. There's a district called Tirap where I went to Khonsa. It's quite close to Myanmar. So
Okay.
I did not see a television anywhere.
uh,
When we finished our camp, we were taken to the leader of that place. That leader is called Raja or the king. So we went to the king's house. I thought I'm going to see some kind of a palace. It was a very ordinary hut. There, for the first time, I saw television. So the
uh,
Raja of that place or the king, he had a television, but in the whole village, that was a single television that I saw. Second thing is they usually have what we call as acute disease, getting conjunctivitis or infection of
mm,
the eye, injuries, that kind of a thing. What
mm,
we are very much used to in urban life, what are called as chronic diseases, diabetes, blood
mm,
pressure. These are chronic diseases. They were much less than these acute diseases like infections. But
mm,
now, because of development, they are also getting urbanized. And unfortunately, what we are seeing now is they are also starting to get chronic illnesses. And
mm,
their illnesses related to something like infection is getting less. But still, one very strong indication which I got, and it's a striking example. I've been going to Arunachal for 6 years. So I have gone to several people's houses for a meal because they're extremely hospitable, as I said. So they call us for a meal.
mm.
In 6 years, without exception, nobody ever has offered sweets before, during, or after a meal to us. In Pune, where I live, sweets is the most important thing, how you welcome or show your hospitality to a guest. I have
Yeah, yeah,
never had a sweet dish in Arun.
yeah.
And
Oh,
not that they
wow.
don't want to, because they are so generous in giving us all kinds of food, but there is no tradition. And I realized the value of that. The recent most camp that we did in Arunachal, we saw about 180 patients over 3 days,
Mm,
and we selected 20 patients for cataract surgery.
mm,
When we select a patient for cataract surgery anywhere in India, there are a couple of basic tests that we do. We check the blood pressure and we check urine sugar or blood sugar if we have the facilities. When we checked those 20 patients, there was not even one diabetic, not even one.
mm,
In Pune or metropolitan cities in India, if we shortlist 20 patients for cataract surgery, 100% there will be between 5 to 7 diabetic patients. But I did not have a single diabetic patient. But that
wow.
is to do with their lifestyle. Simple
Mm,
food, no sweets, and walking all the way because
mm,
very difficult terrains they have. So these are some of their habits which keeps them away from this. India has become a global capital of diabetes. We are the number one country with maximum number of diabetics. But fortunately, it has not percolated to that extent in Arunachal Pradesh.
Amazing. So tell us a bit about their food, because I know you just said you get invited to these various families and they're so hospitable. So would they sit down? Would you sit down and eat? What's the meal? What does the meal consist of? What is their style of hospitality? Are there any special drinks, foods?
We have food with them. Their staple food in the places, at least where I have worked, is rice. So they have rice. Even in the morning for breakfast, they can have rice. So rice is their staple food. And they make vegetables made out of spinach. They have some peculiar, very long leaves, spinach, not like what we get, small leaves. So that's a peculiar dish that they have. So they make food with that. Potatoes are extremely common in their food. So again, from breakfast to lunch to dinner, potato again becomes a staple. And they do eat non-vegetarian food. So non-vegetarian food also forms a part. There are many places where they make some alcohol made from rice, not very easily palatable to us because we are not used to it. But as a gesture of hospitality, they would offer that also. But I tell them that I have come here to examine patients, so there is no way that I can take it. But that's the way they show their hospitality. But we sit with them in the center. The lady sits. There's a fireplace on which she will cook, and we sit all around. And the lady of the house, her kids, her husband, and then we are there, the volunteers of Vivekananda Kendra, the drivers who drive us, we all sit together. It's not that because we are doctors, they will serve us separately. All of us sit together and we talk to each other, and that's the best way to know the community. We want them to know that we are one of you. We are not outsiders. Only then they will confide really about their ailments and be comfortable with us.
True. It reminds me of the olden days when my Aji would cook and we would sit around her. It's a very nostalgic lifestyle of how it used to be. So how about accommodation? I know you're put up in like guest houses, not guest houses. What's the word? Circuit house. Yes. Yes. So circuit houses or homestays. But sometimes I know when we
homestay.
And you've told me sometimes you've had like very, very basic accommodation to very luxurious accommodation. Tell us a bit about the very basic one that you encountered. That was very interesting.
The kind of accommodation which we get really varies from visit to visit. The first time we went in 2019 at that place called Khonsa, the local district commissioner, I still remember his name. His name was Mr. Thungon. He's called the DC. So he offered, and we stayed in what is called as a circuit house. We have circuit houses in all the cities over here as well. The first stay for us was a circuit house. It was very beautiful, very neat and clean, very comfortable stay. So we thought, wow, it's going to be great that every time we come, we are going to get good accommodation. But the immediate next visit was at a place called Longding. We went there. We reached at about 7 o'clock in the evening, which is pitch dark because sun sets at 4:30 in Arunachal Pradesh. We reached there, we stopped where we were supposed to go. We looked around and we couldn't see any place where one would live or stay. So I got down, I asked a watchman that we are doctors, we have come to do some work. We have been asked to come over here. Where are we supposed to stay? So he pointed in one direction, and there was a construction going on in the building, 2-story, and there were bamboo, steel rods and everything. With great difficulty, we bent down and went inside. And he showed us the room where we were supposed to stay. We went inside the room, no electricity. So we took out a torch. As eye doctors, we always have torches with us. And I looked around, there was a bed. And I looked at the bed, there were pieces of glass on the bed. So I looked up and I realized that the window just above the bed was broken, shattered, and the glasses were spread on the bed. So we patiently removed all the glasses, we put them aside. And then this watchman comes and he gives us a bucket of water. And he says, sir, you are going to stay here for 3 days. This one bucket of water is the water you will get for these 3 days. So for a moment, I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. But I said, if the people over here live like this, we have come here to work. We have not come here to enjoy and play staff facility. We'll accept it. We'll stay. So we we managed in that one bucket full of water. Homestay is a concept over there, which are very nice places to live, where the people have converted their homes into a place where tourists can come and stay. That is good enough. Sometimes we have stayed literally in people's house where very, very basic amenities are there. Mostly at night, there is no electricity, so there is no question
mm,
of fans. Sometimes it's very hot. But
mm,
if other people over there are living like this, we should also learn and stay like this. So the
mm.
accommodation varies, but I think staying like this has made us more flexible. I think it's a boon that it has taught us something.
So you have mentioned a couple of times that electricity is not particularly available in every place. So how do you
Yeah.
perform your surgeries, etc., and your clinics?
The first place, as I told you, Mr. Pungon, whose place we worked for the first time,
Mm,
he unfortunately had to leave for Delhi the next day to get some training. But very senior IS officer, they have typical
mm,
trainings in the capital.
mm.
So he said, unfortunately, I have to go there. But every evening he used to call and ask, was the electric supply there? Was there any
Ah,
interruption? But because the commissioner was personally asking, the Department of Electricity saw to it that we got a constant supply. But there are many, many occasions when the electricity goes off, even in our last camp.
mm,
If the camp is held in something like a primary healthcare center, then
mm,
they do have a backup of a generator. Sometimes they don't even have that. But whenever we examine patients for eye problems, even in Pune, we actually convert our consulting room into total darkness. We can examine eyes only in darkness. We don't
mm,
want lights. So we
mm,
are used to working in darkness because we switch off all the lights in the
mm,
consulting room and that's all. And all the machines that I have, as I told you, they're portable machines.
mm.
We don't have to plug them in. They are all handheld machines. So
Ah,
after we finish the iCam, I charge them, or there are batteries. So luckily, all the machines that I have can run without electricity because they're portable machines. The big machines can't.
mm,
So the problem can be there is no ventilation because there is no electricity, but one can get used to it. But our work was never stopped because we are used to working in the dark and
mm.
with self-sufficient instruments.
So you also mentioned that you actually perform surgeries. So it's you are able to perform cataract surgeries in these remote places.
We don't perform cataract surgery. I'll tell you a
Okay.
reason for that. We don't perform surgeries because doing eye operations is a very tricky thing. We
Mm,
have to take utmost care about sterilization of the operation theater.
mm,
Post-op follow-up is an important thing. So what we do is, before we started going for the first camp, there are a couple of places. One is Dibrugarh, which is border of Assam. Second is Guwahati, which is the capital city of Assam.
mm.
Thirdly, there is a place called Tezu, which is in Arunachal Pradesh itself. They have good hospitals. So we have a liaison with them. So I select these cataract patients, and these dedicated workers of Vivekananda Kendra, they take them to those hospitals a couple of days after the camp is
Ah,
finished. All the
okay.
patients are operated there. They stay there for 2 days. Their post-operative follow-up is done, and the Kendra volunteers again bring them back to the
Ah,
villages, and then they go to their homes. And they send me the reports of all the patients.
Mm. So before we move on from Arunachal, there's one big chapter of Arunachal that I'd definitely like to talk about, the scary experience and the turnaround. So, and you know which one I'm talking about. So I'd like you to tell us about
Yes.
that, and then we'll end up the Arunachal chapter, so to say, with any story, just so that you know what I'm going to ask you. Any story, any incidents, or more than one incidents that really stays with you and, makes you go back.
So there was one incident when it happened. It was very unpleasant. There's a place called Waka, Waka, Waka,
okay.
very small village called Waka, so close to Myanmar border that if we looked out of the window from the campsite, there was a hillock, and beyond the hillock was Myanmar. So with
Okay.
a naked eye, we could see the Myanmar border. We saw patients over there. It was very busy that day. We didn't take a break also. From the place where we were staying in Arunachal to go to that Waka village, distance of 40 kilometers, but we took 5 hours to reach there. It was such a difficult terrain to travel. We finished our work by about 4:30, but we had to go back 5 hours again. So luckily we
Mm,
finished all the patients because we didn't even take a lunch break.
mm,
And we packed everything and we were about to leave. Then there was suddenly loud noises and somebody kicking on the door. We close the door when we see the patient. This was something very unusual, never experienced that before. So I asked the volunteers, just open the door and see who's thumping at the door. So when they opened the door, about 15 people walked inside. Each one of them had a sword in their hand. They call it Dao, DAV, Dao in Arunachal. So many senior citizens also carry that just as a part of their dress. So they had that Dao in them, and the leader was wearing a bandana like this. He was the obvious leader, and he had his associates. So they came and they spoke in Hindi, and they said that you must examine all 15 of us, and then we'll decide what to do with you. So I thought for a moment, I said that you can see that I have packed up. There is no way that I can examine you now. To examine 15 patients, it will take 1.5 hours. So I can't examine you now because I have to go back. And it's a very difficult road. It's already getting dark, so I can't examine you now. He shouted at me again. Then I've told you that you must examine all of us. Just finish that work, and then I'll see again what to do with you. Wielding his swords. We were a bit scared because I thought that he really meant what he said. His 13 other colleagues, they were standing at the side, and the villagers were talking to them. They told those people, what we could call as infiltrators, they told them that Dr. Dixit does not represent the state. So they said he does not represent the state. He is a individual person who has traveled from a city called Pune, which is extremely far away from there, and he has come here, he and his wife. Just the two of them see the patients. They don't take a single penny from any of the patients. From morning till just now, they are working. And because there were too many patients, he has not even had his lunch today. And you are treating him like this. He's doing voluntary work for people in this village. He's getting nothing out of it. He's not doing it as a job for the state. So by the time they were coming next to me, I talked to that leader and I said that, okay, you want me to examine you? I'll tell you what I can do. But firstly, I'll examine all of you on one condition, that you must provide for accommodation for me and my wife tonight over here, so that whatever time it takes, I'm not worried. We'll stay here. Early morning, we'll go back. So just give us whatever accommodation you can, just a small hut, and we'll stay there for tonight. He said, I can't do anything like that. I'm not going to give you anything. You just examine us, and then I'm going to see what to do with you. I'm not going to provide any accommodation. And as they say, when something like this happens, you probably get an adrenaline rush. So I got that adrenaline rush. And I told him that you just sit down. And I'll tell you what I can do for you. I'm going to examine you. I'm going to examine this friend of yours and all the 13 other people. And I don't just examine. I'm going to examine you, and I'm going to give you medicines if you require. Some of you may require glasses. I'm going to give you glasses. This is what I'm going to do for you. And you are a king, a leader of this place, and you can't even give me accommodation. I can do so much for you. So what is the big idea in you being the king and the leader of this village? In the meanwhile, his colleagues came and they whispered into his ears and told him exactly who I am, from where I have come, that I don't represent the state. He heard all that. He got up and he touched my feet.
Oh.
And he said, I'm extremely sorry. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know what kind of work you have come to do here. They think that I'm earning money by coming over there. Or as I said, I represent the state, and they are very much against the state. But he made all of them come and touch my feet. But then I told him that I have given you my word that I'll see you. I said, I won't see all the 15 of you, but at least you and your friend, who's your associate, I believe, I'll at least examine you because I have given you my word. So we put up all the instruments. I checked the two of them. His assistant, unfortunately, had lost one and nothing could be done for that. But I kept my word. I examined, gave them medicines, gave one of them the glasses, but it settled down like that. But it was a scary experience, but it ended on a good note. They just said goodbye and they vanished beyond those hillocks.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have to stay, you just traveled back.
We traveled because I just examined two of them, which I could finish in about 20 minutes. So both of us were winners. That Igor was happy that I examined. In fact, he didn't want me to examine because he really repented. He was really feeling sorry that the way that he behaved with me. But maybe God gives you strength when you're in difficult times like this. But even I felt bad because there are different angles to it, why these people
there's a
behave like
different
this. And,
circumstance.
if you
What
will
a
experience the
turnaround.
second.
So, doctor, you've told us about this scary incidents and how how this the turnaround that happened with just your utter last minute bravery, I think. But if you could also tell us any lasting memory, any memory that you will carry from Arunachal. I know you go back every year, but any memory so far?
I do have a memory like this, which is very close to my heart. I remember an incident where a gentleman brought his 2, 3 year old small child, his son, for examination. And he came and said that, Doctor, my son has not opened his eyes for 7 or 8 days. So I don't know what's wrong with him. I said, okay, let me check. So I went ahead and tried to open his eyes and try to examine him. But he had closed his eyes so tightly that it was really impossible for me to open his eyes and examine him. So I was wondering what I could do. So I just gave it a thought and I thought about one trick. When I go and work in UK in the NHS hospitals, many a times when I come back, I buy some medicines, some eye drops, which are not easily available even in Pune. But the Pune people can import medicines and use. But I carry these medicines specifically to use them in Arunachal Pradesh. One of such medicines is what is called as a preservative-free local anesthetic drop. It just makes your eye numb within seconds of putting that in the eye. So I always carry that. So these are the preservative-free drops. So I told Naina that Naina, just somehow you should manage to put one drop in his eye. And I said, what you can do is just pull down his lower eyelid. Even if he tries to squeeze his eyes, there might be a little small gap in which you can let at least one drop go in. And I said, after 5 minutes, repeat one more drop. And in the meanwhile, I'll try to see a couple of patients. So I turned around and she somehow managed to put one drop. In 5 minutes, she put the other drop. After 5 minutes, when I had seen a couple of patients, I turned around and this young lad, he had opened his eyes. So I could examine him. And what did he have? He had significant dryness of his eyes. The eye, instead of that bright luster, it becomes what we describe in ophthalmology as a fish tail sign. So his conjunctiva, or the white part of the eye, looks like fish skin. Also, cornea, or the part which you can touch with your finger, that's the transparent crystal clear part of your eye, the frontmost part, cornea, that had become cloudy and there were something like scratches on it. And because of those scratches, you get intense pain and you are extremely sensitive to light. You can't even tolerate ordinary sunlight. So he was squeezing his eyes and shutting them tightly. This is called photophobia. And what is the reason for that? The reason is vitamin A deficiency. We don't see that kind of deficiency in the rich Western states of India. I had learned about it in maybe my college days when I was in ophthalmology. Seen a few patients in small villages nearby Pune, but not seen in 40 years. So he had vitamin A deficiency. And the treatment, simple. We took him to the primary healthcare center where we were working. I told the doctor to give him an injection of vitamin A and then supplements of vitamin A to carry on. I feel blessed that I was there on that particular day to examine this child. If his treatment was not started, his cornea would have become opaque and he would probably lead a life of a blind person through his life. But with a simple treatment, we could avoid that. We could rectify the problem. So many people ask me, what is the memory when you talk about Arunachal Pradesh? Is it the sunrise? I said, yes, of course, it has to be sunrise because Arunachal Pradesh gets the first sunrise of India. There is a place called Dong where the first sunrise of India is supposed to take place. The local villagers tell us that actually there is a place called Vijayanagar, smaller than Dong, which sees the first sunrise. But anyway, the first sunrise of India is in Arunachal Pradesh. So yes, sunrise is my memory of Arunachal Pradesh. But more than that, it is this sunrise, S-O-N, sun. This is the sunrise. This boy, this little boy who opened his eyes, that sunrise is my most favorite memory of Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah. What sort of season do you tend to go to Arunachal?
We go there, we take advice of the locals. So if we go there in difficult seasons like monsoon or in very cold weather, firstly, it will be difficult for us to go. But more important, it will be difficult for the villagers to come because they come from valleys, they come from mountains. So we have to think about the seasons when the villagers will have easy access to travel and come. So normally we go end of February, March, up to end of March, or we go in September, October. We avoid heavy monsoon or heavy rains and significant winters.
Even in those months, the terrain is so rough that it takes you hours to get
Yes.
from A to B. Before we move on, I have another little question and I'd like you to talk about it. You've also said that while you have these camps and you will ask people to come there to examine, you sometimes also on occasion will travel to somebody's house to examine them if it's difficult. Give us an example. Tell us more about these sort of instances.
Yeah, what happens is after we finish the camp, we have traveled so far away from Pune that we want to make the most of our journey. So after every camp, we do feel that this beautiful state of Arunachal Pradesh, where Himalayas are everywhere, where there is big rivers like Brahmaputra. So we want to enjoy the nature also. So after we finish the camp, we do see places around because it is unbelievably beautiful. So when we travel, we stop on the way to buy some local things like basket. We make very, very beautiful baskets made of cane. Very beautiful and very strong. They are so good that we purchase those baskets. And if I take that basket to shops in Pune, very honestly, the shopkeepers ask me, Doctor, where have you got this basket from? It is so beautiful and so strong. Even if we stuff a lot of things in it, you can still carry it easily. So we stop at certain places like this, and then they realize that I'm a doctor and I've come to visit villages. And they say, why don't you come to our village to examine patients? I said, of course, I'll come sometime. But if there is somebody with an acute problem, I'm pleased to come home and examine it because we have portable machines right in the car in which we travel. I just have to open the machinery. I can't set up the full clinic like the vision chart and everything.
Of course.
But if somebody has an acute problem, I'm very happy to go to their houses on the way. And they're very happy. And so many people's houses we have gone just on the way, even if it was not an ordinary camp. It gives me a lot of pleasure to do that.
It's so fulfilling, isn't it, from your point of view? I suppose it's just
very true.
So just to give the audience a bit of a flavor, Doctor has put up several series of videos on his channel just describing his Arunachal experiences in more detail. So do feel free to visit those, and I'll put a link under our video as well. After so many years of service, you have had a chance to give back in so many ways. And we're going to skip back to your rather challenging youth. You lost your parents very early, and you had to, as good as fend for yourself throughout your university years. And you had a very good guru at that stage. So I would like us to cover all of that.
So I did have a big obstacle in my life. It was very unfortunate that both my parents died one after the other while I was still a teenager. So it was a very, very, very difficult time for me. And I thought that life is like a dice. It throws things at you and you must learn how to deal with it. But that's the negative part of it. But life also offers you things. So we must learn how to make the most of it, what life offers. So I kept that motto in front of me. I'll deal with whatever is thrown at me, but whatever is offered to me, I'll make the most of it. It was difficult, but my friends tell me that in 1 year you grew by 10 years. That's because there was no support as such. So I had to become mature very quickly. But I can't keep on just complaining because there are people who help you. There are relatives, there are friends who come to help you, and I did get help. So I always feel that I should see the half full glass and not just crib about the half empty glass. People help me. But that particular incident or that situation made me work very hard because I had to prove to myself, I had to prove to the society something. And there was that drive in me because of which I kept on working and trying to pursue my education. What I'm talking is retrospectively, when you go through it, things can be a bit difficult. And Through medicine, as I said, when I started working, I had a mentor in the form of late Dr. H.V. Sardesai. He was a legendary figure. Anybody who in Pune or Maharashtra would know him. He was much more than a doctor. He was an extremely successful and a brilliant physician or a cardiologist. He was a great teacher. Students from all years of medicine used to flock to the lecture room to listen to his lectures. But I was so lucky again. I feel that I have got so many blessings from the Almighty that he treated me like his son. Right from the branch which I have taken, that is ophthalmology, it was because of him. He guided me which branch I should take, what I should do. He taught me a lot of things in life. Some of his teachings became a part of my life. One of the great things that he taught me was, Udayan, you must treat a patient, but remember, your duty is not just to treat a patient, your duty is to heal a patient. It's a small sentence, but means a lot. You just don't treat a report or treat left eye of a patient. You have to treat the patient and you have to heal that patient. That's one of the biggest things that he taught me. And he molded me into what I am today. One of the habits which I got from him was to start work very early in the morning. He taught me the importance of an entity which in Marathi is called Brahma Muhurta, the best time of the day. That is supposed to be between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. He used to follow that throughout his life. He saw his first patient at 4:45 in the morning for decades together, and patients used to go. So I started to follow that. I still get up at 4 o'clock and I start work very early. There are some philosophical things about it, why you should start so early, because air is purest and you are at peace. But there are some practical aspects to it. When you start your daily work, every day you are going to have some problem, some difficulty in your life. It could be minor, major, a staff member has not come, the electric supply is not there, one of your machines is not working. Some problem does crop up almost every day. That early in the morning, there is no problem which is still, you have not faced any problem. Nobody rings you up, no telephone call between 4 and 6. And I really feel that you are at your best. So whatever you want to do, the most difficult thing, which for me would be doing an operation. So I used to start surgery at 5:15 or 5:30. And I follow that. And what was the practical importance of that? Most of our patients are elderly people because they get cataract, which is the most common surgery that we do. They are always brought by their sons or daughters to the clinic to get operated. But because I used to operate so early, they used to go back home at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And go for work. They never had to take even a day off from their
So
work.
considerate, yeah.
So that's the practical aspect of this. They were very happy to come early in the morning so that they'll get their parents operated, go back home, settle them, and go to work. So in a lot of ways it works. So he taught me a lot of things in life, and I followed him, and I owe a lot of my success in my career to him. Everybody needs a teacher. In a guru is always necessary. He guides you. Then, of course, it's up to you how you develop your life. But I was very fortunate to have a guru like him.
How old were you, doctor, when you lost your parents?
When I lost my mother, I was 17, and I lost my father when I was 18.
So really formative years of your...
Yes.
I mean, you're being very modest, but also tell us about... so you were a gold medal student in surgery, but you still chose ophthalmology. Yes. Tell us that. I found that very fascinating. Yeah. Tell us about that.
For the final MBBS examination, I stood first in general surgery. And it was a convention that if you stand first in surgery, you go to what is called as a professorial unit and take general surgery and become a general surgeon. The head of department of general surgery, a very legendary figure, Dr. Mrs. Mehta, she just took it for granted that I'm going to take surgery and join her. She was a very close friend of my father. In fact, she was looking forward to it, that she is going to have her friend's son as a resident working for her. But Dr. Sardesai told me that I know that you have very limited resources. You don't have much with you because there is no earning member in the family. I became a doctor and all in 20s. So there was a span of 6-7 years when there was no earning in the house. But he said, because of this, take a branch in which you can settle easily. Take a branch where you have less competition. Everybody takes up general surgery. So there are loads of general surgeons. But take a branch which everybody doesn't take. So when I told the dean of the college and Dr. Mrs. Mehta that I want to take ophthalmology, she was furious. She said, "You're out of your mind. I'm sure that after a week you're going to come back to me and say that I made a mistake. I want to join the general surgery, but I will not take you that time." I said, "Madam, this is not an impulsive decision. I've thought about it. Somebody has guided me for that, and that proved so right that I could start the career very well because there was relatively less competition than general surgery. I could achieve success at earlier stage, and I got more opportunities. So I'm very grateful for that advice that he gave me. And now this was a situation 40 years ago. Today, if after passing MBBS you want to take a post graduation, one of the most sought after branches is ophthalmology.
Oh, wow.
Because it has developed so much, so that becomes the first choice of the toppers. But that was not the situation that time. So my mentor had that wisdom, and I listened to him, and I never repent for taking that decision.
Since we are talking about, you were one of the first top ophthalmologists in Pune, Maharashtra. You were also one of the first to start things like laser surgery when there was nobody else doing it. Tell us a bit more about all these firsts that you were therefore able to bring into Pune, Maharashtra.
So I started my practice, and when I started practice, I went to some of the very senior and extremely successful doctors in Pune because they were my father's colleagues.
Sorry to interrupt, doctor.
Yeah.
Your father was a doctor as well?
Yes,
Okay.
my father was a radiologist. My grandfather was a radiologist.
Oh.
The medicine was there in the family. So,
Yeah.
yes. So many of the stalwarts and real legends in surgery, orthopedics, and physicians, they were either my father's friends or some of them my father's students. So I went to them, and I remember an incident where I went to one of the most successful orthopedic surgeons in Pune, who has national fame. I went to him and I said that, "Sir, I have come to ask for your help because I'm going to start practice, and I'll be very happy, very obliged if you support me." But what he taught me was the most important turning point in my life. He said, "Udayan, you must remember that I have been practicing for so long. So whatever patients I have who need eye care or ophthalmology services, I must be referring them to some person, and that person is doing good work. So I cannot suddenly stop sending patients to him and send patients to you just because you happen to be my teacher's son. But I'll tell you a guru mantra. Do something which nobody is doing in Pune. Do something which these doctors are not doing. Then I can easily send patients to you because they are not doing that work. So start something which nobody else is doing." So I really made a lot of research as to what is lacking in Pune, and I realized about the laser treatments. So the laser treatments, because I had my qualifications in the United Kingdom, I went back to UK and I learned about laser treatments. The laser treatments for treating diabetic patients, because we have loads of diabetic patients in metropolitan cities. So I was one of the, I won't be the first person in India, but I was one of the very early persons in India and in Western Maharashtra to start laser treatment. So I had very, very big referral work coming from all other, because I started doing something which others were not doing. So when I got the laser machines, there were very few in the whole country. And it changed the level of my practice because I was doing something which very few people were doing. I always feel that if you listen to people who are successful, you will gain something. I feel that I should always remain a student.
Your journey has never been like straight, isn't it? So while you were studying, tell us this opportunity that you got to come to the UK, and how you came here, did some work, and then went back. That story is interesting as well.
When I was doing my residency in ophthalmology, one of my friends who does great research work in diabetes, who's very close, he's world-renowned diabetologist. He told me that one doctor from Oxford is going to come and visit Pune, and you should meet him because his name is there in the textbooks. So I opened the textbooks, and his name was there. His name is Dr. John Harding. He used to do research in a place called Nuffield Laboratory of Ophthalmology in Oxford. So he came here. He was going to give lectures in the Pune University. So I went to the university and I asked them, "Can I attend his lectures?" He was a biochemist, actually, not an eye doctor. But his name was there in our textbooks because he had done some basic research on cataract. So they said, of course, you can come and attend a lecture. Then I said, can I be a host to Dr. Harding? Because I stay very close to the university. I would be honored if he comes and stays with me, and I'll bring him to the university whenever the lectures are there. They said, yeah, sure, go ahead. You can host him. So I studied all his papers. I studied everything that he had worked on. And when he came and stayed with me, I discussed a lot of things with him. He was very happy. I was very junior that time. He was very happy that I have read so much about his work. So as he left Pune and went back, he offered me to do a collaborative research on early formation of cataracts in tropical countries like India, Iran, etc. So I started doing a collaborative research on cataract with him. And after 1 year, when the research was at end stage, I decided to go to England to submit my research work to him. Since I was going there, my brother-in-law, who lived in England for decades, he said, since you're coming here, why don't you give exams over here? I said, okay, I'll give exams. So I gave the exams. Luckily, I passed the exams. I got registration there. And I just didn't come back to India immediately. I was there for a year and I worked in NHS. I came back, finished my post graduation, but that bond with England always stayed. So for the last 40 years, intermittently, but 1 month at a time, thrice a year, I've been going to England and working initially to learn. Then I am very proud to say that Indian ophthalmology is at par with United Kingdom today. So now I go there to share my views, to break the monotony of life. But this is how the bond with United Kingdom started.
Wow. And there was something about, what was it about your research that you were collecting samples? Is that?
Yes, the way we did the research was we used to operate for cataract. And in olden days, these days we do cataract, which is very famously known as phaco or phacoemulsification. We liquefy the cataract and suck it out through a very small incision. We don't need a stitch or anything. In olden days, there used to be a big incision. We used to take out the whole cataract, single piece. It was like a bead. And I used to collect that in small bottles, which he had given me, Dr. Harding. Then it had to be preserved in a particular substance which was not available in pharmacology departments or in the shops. So I went to NCL, National Chemical Laboratory, very close to the Pune University. I got that material from them. I used to put them in it was like a small part of your finger, such small bottles. I used to put the lens, cataractus lens in that. And in batches, I used to send them to England. We used to do chemical analysis of those lenses. And I used to know which patients it belongs to and what ailments they had through the life. And we had a hypothesis that because the patients in India suffer a lot of dehydration, they get bouts of diarrhea, that can probably cause early cataract.
And you must have been in your early 20s then?
I was 2021 that time, yes.
What an opportunity. Okay, so now I want us to move into what could have been an alternate career for you. Which you didn't go down, but if we could talk about that. So you worked in the famous, I don't know how many times I've seen this film on TV, 22 June, 22nd of June. That was based on the Chafekar brothers. For us, Maharashtrians, they are at par of Bhagat Singh, Udham Singh and Rajguru, right?
Yes.
And the film won a national award. Tell us about your experience.
So when I joined the BJ Medical College, it has a very long history of legendary actors. To quote a few, Dr. Sriram Lagu, whose plays have been legendary plays, Himalayachi Saudi, Nata Samrat, and of course, Dr. Lagu became very successful in Marathi as well as Hindi movies. He belonged to BJ Medical College. Dr. Jabbar Patel, who made such beautiful Marathi and Hindi movies, and of course the legendary play Ghashiram Kotwal. Dr. Mohan Agashe still works in Marathi and Hindi movies and is an extremely respected character actor in both the so-called Bollywood as well as the Marathi. They all are from BJ Medical College. So when I entered BJ Medical College, these were stalwarts in front of me. They were still there. Dr. Mohan Agashe was the head of psychiatry department that time.
When you said to me that he was the head of Department of Psychiatry, Dr.
Yeah.
Mohan Akashi, I didn't know this side at all. I mean, this is, or Dr.
He was,
Jabbar Patel, they're more known as artists than doctors now. So.
yes, very true. So I started working in dramas. There's a very famous drama competition in Pune, which is very much respected. I worked in it 40 years ago. It still exists, called Purushottam Karandak. Very prestigious drama competition, intercollegiate. So I started acting in that, did a couple of plays in a couple of years. Then I did some roles in a few commercial dramas. While I was doing these dramas, the director duo of Nachiket and Jayu Patwardhan, they spotted me in one of the dramas in which I was performing. And they saw in me the youngest Chafekar brother. And they offered me the role of the youngest Chafekar amongst the three brothers and do the film 22nd June 1897. We lived that role. I had shaved off my head completely. In order to look authentic, I started wearing a dhoti and a small bush shirt like thing. I had pierced my ears and I used to wear what is called as a big bali because that's the dress that is. But I should look natural wearing a dhoti and moving around, which otherwise I wouldn't be able to do. So we lived that role literally. I was still in medical college. When we did the movie, we didn't know what it would turn out to be. There were a lot of British actors from the Shakespearean theatre in that, a few German actors, because it was very authentically made. Anybody who played the role of a British officer or colonel, and they were British actors, not somebody who's Indian who's given a makeup and performing. In 1980, actually, it won the Filmfare Award. In fact, the subsequent year, Jabbar Patel's movie with Smita Patil, that won the Filmfare Award. So 1980 Filmfare Award went to 22nd June 1897. And that same year, we won an award called National Award for Integration, National Integration, that we won at the hands of the then president. So multiple awards we got. This movie was shown several times on BBC 4 channel in UK. As you said, we see it so many times in India because these were sort of unsung heroes. They were not given the kind of importance that they deserve. I used to feel that this was the first assassination of a British officer, but I wasn't sure. But recently I saw a movie called Savarkar, made by a very famous Hindi hero. And Randeep Hooda is his name. He has made that very nicely. In that film, actually, I saw that truthfully, the assassination done by Chafekar brothers was the first one. Bhagat Singh and Udham Singh and others, they followed. So when I saw that movie, I realized that it is a truth. In fact, that movie has a scene which I had performed in the movie. It's called Gondya Alare. That was a sign for knowing which carriage the Colonel Rand is going, and that's how they shoot him. So it was truthfully one of the first assassinations, but they were not given that much of importance. So that's why you said very correctly that to those people who live in Maharashtra, the Chafekar brothers are very close to their heart. But that's how the movie became successful, critically acclaimed. I was at a fort because I was just in second MBBS at that time. My parents had passed away, and there is a huge glamour of the film world. So my elder sister was worried that I'm going to drift away, leave medicine, and join films. But I sat down, and my wife to be, she was with me at that time. We were not still married. She told me that this is a very unpredictable career. Secondly, it can be a very short career. And thirdly, as I said, she had great patriotic values because of her late father. She said that you must serve the nation, not just work for your glamour. So I just completely left the film world and the art world. And because if I had done both, I would be able to do justice to either of them. I wouldn't be a serious, sincere doctor. So I just left the film world, the glamour and everything behind. And I started doing medicine. I had a lot of friends in the film world. Great legendary actor Nasiruddin Shah used to always come and stay with me in Pune. He's a great actor, a great person. But it was very hard to leave all that. But I did it. Again, I don't repent at all. I'm fully satisfied what I chose. But the second chance came to me. 41 years after doing medicine, when I decided to slow down and reduce my work by 50%, people in the film world knew that I had acted in this famous film. So when somebody was doing a new film, just 2 years ago in 2023, they offered me a role and I gladly accepted it because the passion was still there. So in some way, I have started the second innings on a small footing.
Tell us the name of the film that you acted now.
The film is in Marathi called Sur Shodhatana, Finding the Melody in Life. It has got nothing to do with music. It is about a disgruntled couple and drifting apart, and I play the role of a psychiatrist and how I bring them together to find melody in their life again. That's what the film is about.
Yes, lovely. I would also like you to narrate the instance where somebody spotted you in the Smithsonian.
Oh, yes. One of my friends who used to live in Washington, now he lives in San Francisco, he gave me a call and he said that, Udayan, I saw your picture in Smithsonian Museum. I said, how can I be in Smithsonian Museum? You must be mistaken. And he said, no, because Smithsonian has several buildings, one for science, one for art, one for Earth's history. So similarly, there is a wing which had India's freedom struggle. And because this is the first assassination of a British officer, they didn't have original pictures of the Trafficker brothers. So they had put my picture in that museum to show the first assassination of a British officer, which my school friend picked up. And he rang me up and said that I saw you in Smithsonian. And I was really surprised that that's fate, I would say, but that's how I had the honor of having some kind of a presence in Smithsonian for whatever time it was.
Excellent. So good. For somebody to be sitting somewhere and just noticing his friend on.
Yes, yes.
Doctor, in your very rich medical experience, you've also won several awards and a couple of lifetime awards. The whole of Gujarat state has, you've got a state level award as well. Tell us a bit about these awards.
Right from the beginning of my early career, I was quite interested in academics. And I started reading a lot. I started presenting papers, talking in conferences. I had a solo practice throughout my life, single-handed practice. I always used to feel that I must work in some institution, only then I'll be able to do research. But again, my wife, Naina, she's always been the biggest support in my life. She said that it's not necessary to work in an institution. In your solo practice also, if you have the desire, you can do academic work. So I listened to her again. And I kept on reading, learning, and presenting things because I had the fortune of doing new things at that time. So I started winning best paper in All India Conference, best paper in Maharashtra State Conference, several awards in the early phase of my career. That continued for several decades till I kept on talking about. About last year, a stage came when I decided to slow down, not stop. I always say that it's a comma in my work and not a full stop. I will keep on continuing to work, but at a slower pace. At that stage, if you have done a lot of work throughout your career, you get bigger awards. So I got what are called as Oration Awards. So I got Oration Award from a society called Deccan Society, which is a society having southern part of Maharashtra districts and northern part of Karnataka districts. They gave me an Oration Award. Gujarat State gave me an Oration Award. The college where I studied, BJ Medical College, there is an entity called Research Society. They gave me the Oration Award. And, many a times you are never appreciated where you belong to or where you have studied. So when my own college, it gave me the Oration Award by the Research Society, that is closest to my heart because it's a society where I studied. And then in the last year, I got Lifetime Achievement Award for whatever work I have done in ophthalmology, which includes my career as well as the work in Arunachal Pradesh. And just a couple of months back, I got the award from an institution called National Institute of Ophthalmology for the work that I have done in retina, mainly the work that I have done for diabetes. So these are the awards.
Is that the one that the famous cricketer Vengsarkar handed over?
Philip Vengsarkar gave me this last award of, it's called Lifetime Achievement Award, last two award. That Lifetime Achievement Award was given to me by Philip Vengsarkar.
So thank you so much for all your time so far, Doctor, but I will not let you go. I'd like two things from you. Just advice, you've had a rich, very successful life full of all sorts of experiences. So just life lessons, what have you learned? And if we can also end up with any experience that has stayed with you.
And so if I want to tell, let's say, a few youngsters and then older people, as far as youngsters are concerned, those who want to take up medicine, maybe ophthalmology or anything else, I would like to say that there is no shortcut to success in life if you want to have a long innings. There are shortcuts if you want to have, as it's typically called, a 24-hour or a 48-hour fame. But if you have to have a long, successful career, there are no shortcuts. You have to work really hard and you have to have a great discipline. You have to keep on learning till the last day of your life. That's the secret to success. That's the first thing. Second thing I would like to tell youngsters who want to become doctors is, if the top priority in your life is to earn money, and I feel there is nothing wrong in it. I won't look down upon people who are working just to earn money. That's their preference, that's their choice. But if your preference in life, top priority is to earn money, then medicine is a wrong profession. Medicine does give you money. It makes your life comfortable. You can look after yourself, you can look after your family, but it doesn't take your richness to a different level. You become rich by other things. You can earn money through medicine, but you will become rich by investing it properly with the help or the guidance of investment consultants or your friends. That's how you become rich. We should not try to become rich doing medical work, because medicine is not business. We call a medical profession, but I feel medicine is service. And whatever was always said about the medical profession, that it's a noble profession, it's the duty of the youngsters to keep that as truly a noble profession, because it can get a bad name very easily. That's what I would tell youngsters.
Amazing.
And as far as senior people are concerned, I would say that there are phases in everybody's life. At each phase, you have a different goal in front of you. In the early phase, even a doctor, the top priority is to earn money, but ethically. Money is never enough for anybody. Even the richest person still requires more money. But in your heart, you know, if you are truthful, if you introspect, that I have made adequate money now, then you work for your name. And you get named depending on your capacity. Somebody may become famous in the city, somebody may become famous nationally, somebody may become famous internationally, a rare few may become celebrities. But you know what your level and limitations are. So you make your name. You pass that phase also. Then you work in such a way that you work for what is called as self-realization. I may not get any money. Nobody's going to come and pat me on the back like I work in Arunachal. No money. Nobody's going to say, oh, you're doing great work. But self-realization means if I'm doing the work, it must be the best possible work. Let nobody even realize that. I should not do anything which is substandard. That stage comes. That stage also passes. So ultimately, I feel what everybody should do at a certain stage is give. Give to the society. Because the society has given you these things. You have earned, but the society has given you. And I think that you must give to the society and to the nation, because it is our nation in whatever way you can. Everybody may not get the correct opportunity, but keep on looking for it, but give to the others.
Amazing, amazing advice. Thank you. Excellent, excellent. And now to the end.
And to tell things which I remember in my medical career, one thing pertaining to these awards is the way patients have treated me throughout my life, the fondness that they have shown to me, the faith that they have had to me for more than 4 decades. Today, many of the patients and their sons have moved to the West, UK, USA, some to Australia. But even today, when they are diagnosed with something and they have to undergo a treatment, they ring me up and they say, Dr. Vicky, should I take this treatment? And I say that you are in a country where there are the best of doctors. And I strongly believe that even in UK, there is great standardization of doctors. You cannot become a consultant unless you have a particular standard. So I say that you are being seen at the best of hospitals with very good doctors, because I know what is the standard of the doctors there. Why do you call me? They say the reason we call you is because you are approachable to us. We can relate to you. We cannot talk like this to the consultants in England or America, because there is a factor called Shraddha factor, or the faith. which exists in Indian patients. So they said, we just want to tell you, we know that we have been seen by good doctors, but we'll send you the reports. Once you say go ahead, we'll go ahead. That kind of faith that they show to me, that is the bigger award than any other award that I won. And as far as incidences in my medical ophthalmology field, there's one experience where there was a very young person who was totally blind, totally deaf, and mute. He could not speak. He was deaf and mute from his birth, but he could see. Around the age of 20-25, quite peculiarly, he developed cataract in both eyes. He had never been to a doctor before, never. But when his vision dropped and he couldn't see, he agreed to go to a doctor. So somebody brought him to me. Can't speak, can't hear, can't see. So we decided to operate on him for cataract. He had a cataract, so decided to operate on him for cataract surgery. He got operated, then he came for follow-ups. And big question in my mind is, how do I ask him whether he can see or not? Because he can't hear, he himself cannot talk. So how do I assess whether he started seeing or not? But he used to come and sit in my consulting room, and before him I used to examine a few patients. One day he came and sat in the examination chair, and he himself told me by signs that we used to show fingers to the patient. So he signed and he said, so that meant that you show me the fingers and I'll repeat that how many fingers you're showing, because he used to see what I'm doing to the other patients. So I showed him fingers 2 feet, 7 feet, 10 feet, and he had a smile on his face and he repeated that. Yes. That's one of the lasting memories for me.
Wow, amazing. So it's not just a lasting memory, but how perhaps patients can give back and teach you as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But if you show this kind of love to the patients, patients will always give back their love to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor, for spending so much time sharing your rich experiences, ranging from Arunachal to the beginning of your career to throughout your career. I mean, I can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm very grateful, Sujata, because sometimes when you ask questions like this, it makes you introspect. There are so many things which probably even I would have forgotten in this long span of, I'm in my 60s now, in my early childhood or in my early career. But your questions were so stimulating that even I had to introspect and even I actually lived those memories. So I should thank you, Sujata, for conducting this interview. I'm very, very pleased that I could be there.
You're being too kind, but yeah. No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.